Hello traders, it's start of June and today we are gonna look at some more FTMO challenges and verifications. Today we are gonna look at 3 FTMO challenges and 3 verifications. So without further ado, let's do this. The first challenge right here is for $50,000 on MT4. The graph looks quite good, but there are of course some dips that are not really that nice. For example, this one and this one, but especially this one. But other than that, it's pretty good. This FTMO challenge was finished in 12 trading days. The max loss is not an issue here since there is just minus $1,000, so not even halfway there. The same goes for max loss, not an issue here, just minus $11. And the profit target is reached very nicely, even made $93 more than he or she was required to. So that's kind of nice. This trader executed 60 trades using 241 lots. The average risk-reward ratio is 2.1, so that's very nice actually. And combined with almost 50% win rate, it's 48%. It's very nice. We can see that this trader executed 60 trades using 241 lots. The average risk-reward ratio is 2.1 and win rate is almost 50%. So together combined, it's very good result. In the daily summary, the volume is not split as nicely as I would personally like to, but that's not a problem. Though I wouldn't like to see, for example, most of the volume stacked on these days, because this is pretty much majority of entire volume here of the trading period. But other than that, I think it's pretty alright. On the last page of the trading journal, we can see mostly Forex. All the pairs are paired with US dollar, and this is clearly just a day trader, or at least according to the last page of the trading journal. Most of the time stop losses are used, take profits are used as well, very often, but not as often as those stop losses. And of course there are some exceptions, for example right here, but you know, this is not even a huge position to begin with, so there we go. Buys and sells are both profitable, buys even more so. And the single most profitable instrument here is euro dollar. And pretty much you can see that this is just a specialist on Forex. Nothing else is traded, no indices, no commodities, etc. Okay, so this is it for this account. Everything here is pretty standard and pretty consistent. So that's something that we really like to see, maybe with an exception of really stacked volume. For example, right here, and of course these 2 dips, but other than that, it's perfect. So this is the second FTMO challenge that we are going to look at. Now it's for 160,000 euros and it's traded on MT5. The balance curve looks less interesting than the previous one, but I mean it in a good way because there are no huge spikes, no huge dips. So that means that this is even more consistent. The trading period was finished in 10 trading days. The max daily loss and max loss are actually equal in this case. And actually it was somewhat close to being breached, but not quite there. And the profit target is actually very nice, even made 2,600 euros more than this trader was required to make. In the statistics, we can see that this trader executed 101 trades using 345 lots. So that's actually not really that high of a volume when you consider that the deposit is this high. But either way, that's a good thing because that means that this trader didn't really risk a lot. Now, average risk-reward ratio is just 1. And the win rate is 83%. So in this case, the magic of this account is that the trader really knows the markets and probably is able to really tell where the price is gonna go, because this win rate is really significantly high. In the daily summary, once again, the volume is split somewhat nicely. Of course, there are days where there is third of the entire volume, for example, right here or here, but the rest is not really that crazy. I would perhaps like for this number to be higher. Same goes for this one and this one, but other than that, it's pretty consistent. On the last page of the trading journal, we can see actually many instruments here. So we got Forex, we got indices, we got gold, we got Bitcoin. Somehow stop losses are not used as often as was the case on the previous account. and actually take profits are used more often. Once more, this is a pure day trader according to this page of the trading journal, because no swaps are being paid either way. Now in the last section of this account, we can see that more profits are made on buying, less on selling, but both are still profitable, so that's good. And the single most profitable instrument is gold, and right after that is actually US 30 index. So perhaps if this trader didn't really trade Forex that much, he or she could have more peace and could be more relaxed, perhaps. But either way, it worked out just fine. The win rate is super high, so that's really good. And of course, if the average risk reward ratio improves, this is just gonna be really crazy good. Now we are looking at the last FTMO challenge before we are gonna review some of the verification accounts. So this one is once more on MT4 and it's for $10,000. Now, if you imagine that the start of the trading period is right here, it's actually really nice and consistent. Unfortunately, there was this unfortunate start, and that's certainly not good for the psychology of the trader. But luckily, this trader was able to handle this unfortunate loss, and in the end, he or she successfully finished the trading period. So that means that this trader is able to handle his or her psychology, and that's certainly good. Once again, this was finished in 10 trading days. The max daily loss was really close to being breached, just $85 left. The max loss is pretty similar, but of course nowhere as close as the max daily loss, and the profit target is pretty standard. Number of trades in this case is 66, using only 7.1 lots, so that's pretty low. The average risk reward ratio is 1.08, and once more, what really is the magic of this account is quite high win rate of 80%. Now the volume is pretty low already, but even so, it's quite nicely split across all days, maybe with an exception of these two, but other than that, I cannot really complain. On the last page of the trading journal, we can see that this is basically just Forex, really low volume all the time, and actually still a day trader for the most part, maybe with an exception of these two positions, but maybe this is not really standard position to begin with. And what I really like here is that this trader uses stop losses and take profits all the time. Going long is definitely more profitable here than going short, but both are still profitable, so that's important. And actually, profits are split quite nicely across all instruments. And basically, it's all just Forex. The most profitable instrument here is British Pound and US dollar. Okay, so this is quite interesting because I haven't seen this low volume traded on an account in a long time, and the win rate is really good, so pretty impressive. What I also appreciate here is that this trader was really close to breaching max daily loss, but even so was able to get out of that without an issue. So this is the first verification that we are gonna look at. This is for $100,000 on MT4, and this curve looks very interesting. This curve is not as bumpy as the other ones, and that's certainly because there are just 18 trades executed, which is not a high number. So I don't really want to judge this balance curve because 18 trades don't really make interesting balance curves. Either way, this was finished in 11 trading days. Max daily loss and max loss are not an issue here, and the profit target is finished without any issue. Now I might be repeating myself from the previous parts of this series, but you can notice that the profit target here is 5% of the deposit. And this is simply because we want to make it easier as you progress further down the road. So during the challenge, you have to finish profit target of 10%. This time it's just 5%. And you also have more trading days to finish your verification. Anyway, we can see in the statistics 18 trades executed using almost 50 lots. The average risk reward ratio is 1.09, and the win rate is quite high as well, and it's 72%. I am not sure that I have anything to add to this daily summary. The profits and losses are split somewhat nicely. Maybe this is quite a huge spike, but you know, the volume and number of trades is quite low, so I cannot really judge that. Down here we can see that this trader trades gold, Forex, and that's it. Sometimes he or she uses stop losses and take profits, sometimes not really for some reason, and it's a day trader as well. What is not that consistent is the volume here. So for example, you can see here 0.47 on one position, and then there is 4.71. Now this is just 10th of this position, so perhaps these are somewhat connected. But either way, I just want to demonstrate that the volume per position is not really that consistent here, but of course I don't really know the strategy of this trader. This time sells are definitely more profitable than buying, and the single most profitable instrument here is Australian dollar and US dollar. This trader might perhaps consider avoiding British pound and Japanese yen because there is net loss on that. Okay, so this was quite interesting, especially because the number of trades and the volume is quite low, and this trader is now waiting for his or her FTMO account. So congratulations to him or her. Moving on, this is the second verification, once again for $100,000, still on MT4, and the balance curve is way more bumpy and I would say more interesting. The only thing that I don't really like here is this spike from here to here. That's almost $2,000. So that's basically like 40% of your entire profit target in this case. But you know, this happens. If you have a good entry, why not use it? This is still finished in 10 trading days. Max daily loss and not even max loss are an issue here, and the profit target is pretty standard as well. This time we got 48 trades using even lower volume of 35 lots. The average risk reward ratio is super high. It's 2.87 and the win rate is 60%. So this number is quite high, at least when you compare it to the other accounts in this video. The win rate is 60%, so that's good as well, and together that's really good. Now when I scroll through the daily summary, I cannot really see any huge issue here. Perhaps these 3 days are not optimal, but other than that, it's split very nicely across the rest of the trading period, so that's good. This time we can see Bitcoin, we can see Forex, we can see indices, we can see even commodities. So basically this trader trades it all. Stop losses are used more often than take profits. This is still for the most part a day trader, I guess, because swaps are just being paid here, but these are not really significant positions to begin with. And I assume that this is an exception. Buying is more profitable than selling, but there is net profit on both. And the single most profitable instrument here is British pound and New Zealand dollar. Interestingly enough, this is not a specialist, and he or she is profitable on commodities and indices and the rest of the Forex as well, maybe with an exception of this one. Okay, so this is more interesting than the last one. Of course, more bumpy, but that's to be expected since there are more trades executed than was the case previously. Now this is the last account. This is for $50,000 and it's traded on MetaTrader 5. This is even more bumpy, especially when you consider this dip, and other than that it's just fine. Once more, it's finished in 10 trading days. Max daily loss and max loss are not an issue here once again, and the profit target is finished with $18 more than he or she was required to do, so that's just fine. This trader executed 28 trades using 42 lots. The average risk reward ratio is straight up just 2, and win rate is 64%. So together it's not as impressive as was the case in the last account, but still it's pretty good. Scrolling through the daily summary, I can see that most of the profits are stacked in the beginning of the trading period, which is not really that great, but it works, so why not? This trader still had to make some more profits along the way, for example like this, otherwise he or she wouldn't really finish the trading period successfully. So in the end it worked out just fine, so why not? Down here we cannot really see any Forex as far as I can tell. It's all about Bitcoin, gold, indices, and that's it. This time stop losses and take profits are used equally, so I assume that these positions of course are not that important, so that's why stop losses and take profits are not set here. And certainly this is a day trader for the most part. Selling is way more important here than buying, but both are profitable, and the single most profitable instrument is gold. We didn't really see any forex pairs on the last page of the trading journal, but still there are some profits on euro US dollar. And of course some profit on US 100. You can see that this is purely a specialist on trading gold because majority of all profits are made on that. So there we go. And with that, this is the end of the video. Of course, if you traders have any feedback for us, you can leave it down in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to our FTMO YouTube channel, follow FTMO on all social media, and as always, trade safe.